well, then let me move. Can we go back now to discuss your arrangements with Mr. Matlala around the Medicare contract? You deal with them in your statement from paragraph sorry, if you can just bear with me for a minute.
Sorry, can we put file 2 away? We need to make some space here. It gets a bit...
Yes, we can. We might need to come back to. We might need to come back to file 2. I think about 10, 15 minutes. The version in your statement about your arrangement with Mr. Matlala was that this was, and it's in paragraphs 11 and 12 on page 3 of your statement. It was a relatively simple agreement. You advanced 10 million. You will be repaid, you'll get a return of an additional 10 million over the 3-year contract, and repayments will take the form of 10% of all payments. And you explain the monies that you advanced in respect of that agreement. That was the version in the statement. You said that you had no relationship with Mr. Matlala, or no commercial relationship with Mr. Matlala before. So you were dealing with him in a commercial context for the very first time.
Yes.
Yes. And he made an unsolicited approach to you for the money.
And
An unsolicited approach to you. It's not that you approached him, he approached you.
he approached me, yes.
And on what? How did he introduce himself? How did he say he came to you?
I explained that yesterday, Council.
Yes. You just say he knew you from the security industry and he arrived up in a Rolls Royce.
No. I said he contacted one of my security personnel who's on the website and requested my number there.
Yes. So it was, he knew you from the security industry, which is how he at any rate said that he came to you. You took no security for your loan, the 10 million that you were lending. There was no security.
No.
No. You didn't conclude a written contract in respect of the loan. We covered this yesterday. I'm just setting up the curious features of this. That was the version that we saw in the statement. But it turned out that the statement didn't describe the whole story because you amplified considerably in your evidence. Your first piece of amplification was that you explained that for a while Mr. Matlala asked you for help with an accountant.
That was much later into the contract, much later. It was around October.
October. So he asked you for help with an accountant to assist him with his business, and that was in October.
End of October, yeah.
Yes. But you didn't mention that in your statement.
Yeah, that was not in my statement.
Is there any reason why you didn't mention it?
No, there's no reason.
And you said that you had Mr. Mohammed sitting on a board committee of Medicare 2024 for a while to look after your interests.
It wasn't on the board. It was a finance committee.
A finance committee. So it wasn't the board itself. Was it a committee of the board or just a committee, an executive committee?
No, finance committee looking at invoices going to SAPS.
So he was looking at invoices going to SAPS and he was there to to protect both of your interests in that regard.
Yes.
And we saw, but that was also not mentioned in the statement. Is there any reason you didn't mention it in the statement?
No reason.
No reason. And we saw Mr. Matlala expressly asking you for help with invoicing when you'd already gone off to Cape Town for the January 8th celebrations. You recall that?
He was not asking for help with invoices. At that specific time, Mr. Matlala needed more funding. He wanted a meeting so that he could show me how much invoices are going in so that he could get a top-up. At that time, he was looking for an additional 10 million rand.
Now, let's look at that message, because I don't think that answer is consistent with the message. Go to page 2. His message to you is at 7:01:41. It's the green message on page 2. Salam, brother. Now is the time to start invoicing. Was wondering if I can see you before we send invoices. I can even come to your place. Please advise. He wanted to see you before he sent the invoices.
Correct. He wanted to show me what he's going to be submitting, how much invoices he's going to be submitting, and then show me that that's why he needed the additional funding, because we're going to have to wait for this money again, and he needed to service and pay more of his subcontractors.
But if that was all that he wanted to do, why did he need to see you, and why did he need to see you before he sent the invoices? Why didn't he just show you the invoices?
He needed to come because he asked me over the phone for the money. I said no. He said, so can I please come see you? Can I please come and show you what I need to do or what I'm going to be doing? This is what I'm doing. Can I come? He wanted a face-to-face meeting for that.
I can understand why he might have wanted a face-to-face meeting, but surely he'd have been in a better position on that face-to-face if he'd already sent invoices.
He wanted to show me. That's what he told me.
So you're saying he wasn't asking for help with invoices in this message?
Even when Mr. Mohammed sat on his committee, Mr. Mohammed was not in charge of assisting with the invoices, only to sit there and have a look and see what they're doing. We had absolutely no access to his invoicing, myself and Mr. Mohammed.
So what do you think Mr. Maumela, Mr. Matlala was wanting to show you? Was he wanting to show you draft invoices?
He wanted to show me all the invoices, the amounts of all the invoices that he was going to submit.
And what did you expect to see?
Invoices.
Invoices that hadn't been sent.
I'm not sure if he had sent them or not sent them yet.
Well, he hadn't sent them because he says before we send invoices.
Sorry, Mr. Chaskalson. Mr. Karim, this discussion about this additional loan that you say this is what this WhatsApp message was about, when did that discussion happen?
It started around December when he wanted more funding.
Okay. And you say it started in December and continued when?
Continued-
When before this WhatsApp message?
Yeah, he continued post this message as well. He was looking for more funding.
Yes. You see, I'm asking because on that page 2, you have an afternoon, you send him afternoon on the 30th of December, and the next thing that happens in the series of communication is that WhatsApp message on the 7th of January. So there's no intervening communication between the two of you that accords with the explanation you are giving now about this WhatsApp message. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No,
to you?
I don't understand, Council. Commissioner.
You say, you explain this WhatsApp message of the 7th of January as being about him wanting to talk to you about a loan. And what I'm saying to you, what I'm not seeing is a trail of communication between the 30th of December, which was the last message from you in 2024, where you say afternoon, and the next message from him on the 7th of January. There's nothing in between the two communication or pieces of communication which accords with your explanation or your attempted explanation of the message of the 7th. I would have expected to see either missed telephone calls in between, and then you would then testify and say, well, in those telephone calls, he told me he wanted to come and talk about the 10 million rand. But we don't have that.
There's a call on the 30th.
Yes? What about it?
I'm saying there's a call on the 30th. There was a few calls. We spoke about this additional funding.
Yes.
And I see my messages only start from the 11th of December.
Yes.
But there's many calls prior to this, and I'm sure if we can get his records, and even when he comes here, I'm sure he'll be able to tell you that he really needed extra funding. He was looking for that 10 million to top up.
Yes. He may well have needed extra funding, and he may well have had that conversation with you, but your explanation of the WhatsApp of the 7th of January, that it was to talk about the funding, it doesn't accord with this series of communication on the 30th of December, and then you get a message that's very specific. He wants to speak to you to see you rather, before he sends invoices. That's what he says to you, and then you say, well, it was about funding. It had to do with the additional funding. I don't understand that explanation. At least it's not reflected in these communications.
He wanted to show me the invoices. We spoke about this. He wanted to show me and say, here's invoices. Let's discuss. I'm sending these invoices in. Can you, based on what I'm sending in, can you then top up so much or so much? Because here's the invoices going in.
Yes.
I assisted him in no way to submit
You
any
see,
invoices.
my point exactly, that you know that he wanted to, he's telling you about seeing you before he sends invoices. You know that he wants to show you the invoices because he wants to back up a request for payment, a request for a further loan, but there's nothing in this correspondence that supports that. You are giving an explanation to a message of the 7th, which is not backed up by anything that is on the face of that message.
But that was what transpired. We didn't even meet after that.
But do you accept that this message, on the face of it, it doesn't convey what you're saying? As I understand it, what you're conveying is he wanted to show you these invoices before he sends them off because he wanted to back up his request for funding, for further funding. That's what you're saying. Do you accept what I say to you? But this message itself, when you read this message together, especially together with your last message to him, there's nothing that backs up that explanation you are giving.
I'm sure when he comes here, he'll be able to back this up. Definitely.
Thank you.
If we go back to what actually happened in the operation of the contract, your evidence yesterday was, although the agreement was that you would get 10% of the income that you were entitled to when SAP started paying in September, you didn't take it because you let Mr. Matlala keep that because he had cash flow problems.
He wanted to recover his site establishment costs.
Yes, but in terms of your agreement with him, you were entitled to take 10%. You had put up 10 million and you were going to get paid back 10% of all revenue that the contract generated.
Yes.
And you elected essentially to waive that right.
We had a meeting, and in that meeting, we agreed that we'll allow that one to pass. But there were other invoices that were paid, which was not disclosed to me.
Other invoices that were paid when?
I'm not sure, but in between the periods where my people were removed from, or my person was removed. That's what I suspect. I don't have the proof of that, but that's my suspicion.
And have you managed to pin down those dates with better particularity as to when your people were there and when they weren't?
I've requested them. I should be getting those, and I will hand them over to you.
Thanks. If we move on, it says, well, when we move on, we see that when you finally start getting your payments, you agreed to act as a conduit for Mr. Matlala to pay Mr. Maumela a third of the first payment and a quarter of the gross second payment, which was in fact the same as 50% of the net second payment.
Council, I never said that yesterday. I was given two options by the commissioner yesterday, and I refused to accept that I was a conduit. There were two options given to me yesterday, and if we can go back to the transcripts, I had said I took the first option. I just need to go there and tell you what it was. But I didn't say that I was a conduit.
Well, we can see what the record says yesterday. Let's frame it this way. You agreed to take the payment that Mr. Matlala made to you of 1.5 million and to spend 500,000 of that paying Mr. Matlala's debt or loan to Mr. Maumela.
Yes.
Yes. And then when the second payment came in, you paid 250,000 of that to discharge Mr. Matlala's obligation or to advance a loan on his behalf to Mr. Maumela.
Yes.
And these were not, this had nothing to do with your relationship with Mr. Maumela, it had to do with Mr. Matlala's relationship with
Yes.
Mr. Maumela. So essentially you took 750,000 of your money to pay to Mr. Maumela at the request of Mr. Matlala.
It was not my money. I was going to be replaced. It was not my money. He asked me, he said, I'm giving you this money and I'm going to top you up. I'm going to make good on it.
So no, but either it was your money, in which case you weren't a conduit, or it was Mr. Matlala's money, in which case you were a conduit. Because if it was Mr. Matlala's money all along, then you were really acting as a conduit for Mr. Matlala to pay Mr. Maumela. If it was your money, then you have elected essentially to use your own money to pay Mr. Maumela because that's what Mr. Matlala wants you to do, and you will now have an additional claim against Mr. Matlala to claim that back.
Mr. Matlala asked me to pay that monies and said he'll replace those monies.
So, was it Mr. Matlala's money that you were paying to Mr. Maumela, or do you accept that it was your own money that you were paying to Mr. Maumela?
It was my own money.
So that was the version of how the contract operated when we had regard to your testimony and the statement. But it now seems that you didn't tell us the full extent of your payments. Because the documents that we discovered this morning show that on the 27th of June, there was a 1 million payment from Tasmika, another one of your companies. Oh, let's clarify, is Tasmika Construction one of your companies?
Yes.
And did Tasmika pay Medicare 1 million rands on the 27th of June, 1994?
Council, when we received your...
2024.
Sorry, 2024, okay.
When we received your documents this morning, for me, this was something, I was confused. Because I'd instructed my office to make payments from Ziggy Investments and Tamiz Investments. 5 million from Ziggy and 5 million from Tamiz. When I saw those payments, I then made a call to my office to find out, because the instruction I gave was 5 and 5. And I'm still saying 5 and 5. That payment of Tasmika, I need to go, that's why I asked for more time. I needed to go now and check in my office who actually authorized those payments. Because I've got 2 people in the office or 4 people in the office that deal with payments. I gave them an instruction, I said 5 and 5. At no point did I give them an instruction to pay from Tasmika.
So are you now saying that that 1 million payment on the 27th of June 2024 was a payment made without your authorization?
I give them instructions, they have access to the bank, they process payments, and they send me.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Karim, but this is a very simple question. Did you or did you not authorize the payment of 1 million rands from Tasmika that was paid on 27 June 2024?
Not
to
Tasmika, not Tasmika.
Did you authorize the payment of 1 million from anyone for payment on the 27th of June?
I give instructions, they authorize payments, they do the payments.
No. We're talking past each other. Did you instruct anybody to pay an additional 1 million rands to Medicare 24 on the 27th of June?
No,
So somebody inside your organization took it upon themselves to pay 1 million rands of your company's money without your knowledge or consent.
yes, I'm confused. Hence, I said to my legal team that I need to get hold of my office. I need to get the people in my office and find out exactly who authorized that payment, because my instructions were very clear. My investment was 10 million. When these payments came, I then tried to call them this morning. They're working remotely, but I need to find out who authorizes payment from my office and who made this payment from my office.
So who have you tried to call today to find this out?
I phoned my payments manager, Mr. Hein van Vuren.
And have you spoken to him today?
Well, I've tried to get hold of him on 2 or 3 occasions now, and we've been busy in here, so
Well, you were told about these payments, at any rate your attorneys were told about these payments sometime around about 6 o'clock this morning, and you were aware of them before we started. Had you tried to get hold of Mr.
Yes.
Van Vuren before we started?
yes, I've tried.
Then there was an adjournment to 11:45. Have you spoken to him since you first tried to get hold of him?
In consultation with my legal team, we said once we break here, we need to call them, once we break for lunch.
I see. So you still haven't spoken to Mr. Van Vuren?
No, I've called, haven't spoken to him yet.
I see. Well, Chair, we are a couple of minutes before the lunch break. This might be a good opportunity to give Mr. Karim the chance to call Mr. Van Vuren.
Sorry, on this point, I'm just trying to understand, is this payment by Tasmika Construction part of the 10 million, or is it over and above the 10 million reflected in paragraph 12 of your statement?
I'd have to go and check, because my instructions to my office was 5 and 5. That was my agreement, 10 million and nothing more. So I need to get hold of Mr. Van Vuren and Mr. Sayed, who are then in charge of payments in my office, and a certain lady by the name of Shakira, and find out who authorized this payment from Tasmika.
Can I just follow up, because I can clarify Commissioner Kumalo's question. If you go to page S3, 3 of your statement bundle,
Yeah. Yes.
there you will see how the 10 million that you refer to there is made up. It's 5 million from Ziggy on 26 June. It's 2.5 million from Tamiz on 7 July. It's 1.5 million from Tamiz on 15 July, and it's 1 million from Tamiz on 24 July. And in Annexure SC1, at the end of your statement, you provide bank statements that show each of these payments that you refer to in 12.1 to 12.3, and those payments add up to 10 million. So the payment of 1 million on the 27th of June was over and above the 10 million. Do you accept that?
It was only brought to my attention this
No,
morning.
no, I'm not debating whether you knew about it or not, but I'm asking you, do you accept that it was over and above the 10 million?
I'll have to go and do a recon and check, Council. I'm not
Maybe
going
you
to-
can do that recon at lunch while you wait for Mr. Van Vuren to get in touch. But look also at the 1.12 million payment on the 7th of October, because what you'll see when you do that recon is that what you paid to Medicare was not 10 million. It was 12.12 million.
Let us adjourn and resume at 2 p.m. Apologies for being 1 minute late. Last minute, the legal representatives, including the evidence leaders, wanted to see us.
Chair, are we just continuing at this stage, or are we going to sort out the closing time?
I think the housekeeping matter must be placed on record right away, perhaps.
Thank you, Chair. My attorney and the witness have made arrangements to go to Mecca and Medina. I believe they're traveling tomorrow. So they've asked for an indulgence if we can finish a little earlier to get their arrangements in order. And I think what was mooted was 2:45 or 3 o'clock, if the Commission will grant that indulgence.
Between 2:45 and 3 o'clock, would 3 o'clock work? Thank
Take
you.
3 o'clock.
Thank you. 3 o'clock is better. Mr. Chaskalson?
Chair, I'm in the Commission's hands. Whatever, I certainly don't want to interfere with.
Thank you.
the
3
full
o'clock it
Commission.
is then. Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Chaskalson?
Thank you, Chair. Did you manage to get hold of Mr. Van Vuren? Is it Mr. Van Vuren?
Yes, Council.
What were you able to establish?
They're going to look into it. They're looking into the matter. They're looking into the matter. It was 2 years ago. I just got hold of him. Like I said, the offices are closed, but I said he needs to quickly get hold of the other person and try and see exactly who authorized that payment.
So, but you know you didn't authorize that payment.
No.
So what we have is a situation where over and above the 10 million that you instructed to be paid in accordance with your agreement with Medicare 24 Tswani, there was a payment of 1 million from Tasmika on the 27th of June 2024, and there was another payment of 1.12 million on the 7th of October 2024. Is that correct?
The second one is 1.
1.12, 1,120,000. Is that correct?
Yes, those are the payments, yes.
Yes. So the total amount from your companies paid to Medicare 24 was in fact 12,120,000, not 10 million.
That's what I established now.
And you your evidence is that you first became aware of the extra 2,120,000 from Tasmika today, when the commission drew to your attention.
This morning when I woke up for my morning prayers, my attorney alerted me about this.
So, does anybody other than you have authority to issue instructions for payments of 1 million and more out of Tasmika's account?
There isn't, but people have access.
No, there's a separate question. The people who have access, I understand you can process banking transactions, but does anyone have authority to issue the instruction on behalf of Tasmika, you will pay 1 million?
Only I issue instructions.
Only you. So anybody who made this payment or these two payments without your knowledge was misappropriating money from Tasmika's account.
I'm now made aware of that, Council.
One good thing to come out of this commission for you is that you've been alerted to the fact that people have stolen 2.12 million from you.
I just had that discussion with my council now. I'd like to thank the commission for that.
Let me just understand this. Where would that person have gotten bank details to pay Medicare 24? I mean, they could only have got that from you, since they have not had any interaction with Mr. Madlanga. Somebody who paid from Tasmika's account into Medicare 24, this 2.1 million or 2.2 million.
Commissioner, when you have these accounts, it's a joint account. So those beneficiaries are shared amongst all those. So I assume that's where this problem came from.
Thank you.
Mr. Karim, does it mean that you're not a nominated signatory to the Tasmika account?
Commissioner, I have about 10 accounts that I deal with. So most of these accounts, I give it to my office to deal with. I don't deal with payments because I'm mostly on the road and I don't have time to make payments. So I delegate these payments to a certain team in my office. I am the nominated person, but they have all the details. They have all the login details.
Are a nominated signatory to
Yes.
the account? Okay, thank you.
And do you receive payment notifications from that account?
With FNB, from time to time, you might get an email, you might get an SMS. It's not consistent. It either comes via an email or it either comes via an SMS.
But is it possible that a transaction for 1,120,000 might go off the Tasmika account without any notification to you?
Council, it's possible. Sometimes I'm on the mine, messages don't come through, there's no networks. It's quite deep into the rural area, so there is a possibility.
No, I understand that you might not get a contemporaneous message because the signal's down. But when you go back into the land of signal, that message ought to be delivered to you.
Yes, but at that time, remember, it's not only bank messages coming in. There'll be a lot of people trying to call you, so it's multiple of messages. I just don't look at them. I don't go to the messages.
I see. Now, Mr. Karim, you certainly don't strike me as a sleepy businessman. Have you managed to lose 2 million in your bank accounts before? Has that ever happened to you before?
Council, these days, and I've been looking at a lot of the companies, there's a lot of siphoning going on. There's a lot of money being lost in accounts, a lot.
It's a separate question I'm asking. Has anyone ever made a payment of 1 million rands in one payment out of your account without your noticing?
No,
Not your knowledge, at any rate.
not my knowledge, yes.
And of course, no one's made a payment of 1.12 million rands out of your account without you seeing it.
Yes, and that also sounds like a very, 1120 doesn't sound like a payment that I would instruct to make.
Yes, it's a payment that attracts attention. 1,120,000, is it?
Correct.
Are you a director? What's an official relationship other than a shareholder? What other relationship do you have?
I'm the director.
You're a director. And the company does prepare financials. You would expect something like this to have been picked up by whoever prepares financial records?
Well, if it's not, if they don't pick up, if it's not suspicion and went off the bank accounts, the accountants will continue and process with the payments because they would have thought I authorized. So accountants work off the bank statement and process according to the bank statement. They will not call me for every transaction.
So they would think you have authorized because you are the person with authority to authorize.
No. They would think that I gave the instruction for payment.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
You are the only person that gives instructions for
Yes.
payment. Thank you.
Yes, but they'd have to know how to enter it in the books. And if they went to the bank statement, they would see, let's look at page 555.
Can our learned friend perhaps just give us a description of the document? I'm sure we have it, because it's just not paginated. The document-
Sorry, I apologize. Do we have, if we go to the June bank statement, have we not,
Are they this morning's documents?
this morning's documents, yes, but can I just clarify, because there was a set that should have been paginated and given to the commissioners and to the witness and to the witnesses' attorneys.
We don't
This
have
morning's
paginated
documents.
set.
Sorry.
Mr. Chaskalson, if I could just check, what you're referring to is the Tasmika Construction
Yes.
statement.
Yes,
We
I
have
must
it.
apologize to my colleagues for this because I'm told that the witness has a paginated file, the commissioners have a paginated file, but the witness's legal team does not. What we're referring to is the Tasmika, it's this morning's documents, it's the Tasmika Construction statement for June. And if we go down to the 27th of June,
Have you managed to locate it, Mr. Banner?
We'll try and follow. Or can we just get one of your files and we'll just paginate it quickly?
can we display?
What is the last page of your file two? 544.
Does Medicare June 24? Is that the first?
My colleague, Commissioner Baloi, is lending you hers.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, please. Thank you.
So if we look at the bottom of the page, the only reference for that payment on the 27th of June is F&B app payment to loan. Now, whoever is preparing your accounts, if they're going to prepare the accounts, would need to know who the loan was made to or from. So there'd have to be, so the accountants ought to have asked a question, how do we book this 1 million? How do we describe the loan? Because it doesn't say Medicare 24.
Yes, correct. So,
And- So, sorry, Mr. Karim, I thought you were about to say something.
no.
So ordinarily, what would happen when your accountant sees a payment of 1 million rands that just says payment to loan and it doesn't describe who that loan is to or from? Who do they ask?
They talk to the office. I've got a lady that captures on the instructions of Mr. Van Vieren.
So someone in the office would then have had to have looked at this 1 million payment to say, account for it this way.
Yes, Mr. Van Vieren would look at it and then instruct the capturer who captures these for accounting purposes and give them the reasons.
And how often are Tasmika's accounts prepared? Do you have 6 monthly accounts, annual accounts? I mean, obviously you're going to have a sort of working accounts, but do you prepare 6 monthly financial statements? Do you prepare annual financial statements?
Annual financial statements.
And Tasmika tenders for local government and provincial contracts, does it not?
Yes,
So it needs audited financial statements.
yes,
So auditors will then have to look at these accounts.
yes.
And an auditor, when is financial year end for Tasmika?
Should be Feb.
Feb. So this payment would have been financial year end February last year.
Yes,
And do you have audited financial statements for 2025 yet?
I'd have to check with the auditors and the
How long does it ordinarily take for your auditors to prepare audited financial statements?
I have 2 accountants or 3. I just need to check who's looking after this.
No, my question's slightly different. It's how long does it ordinarily take them to prepare audited financial statements? How long do you normally have to wait before you get your
A
financial
couple of
statements?
months. We have to
Couple
wait
of
for
months.
this, yeah.
By mid-year, you should have financials for the previous February, shouldn't you?
I speak under correction, but yes, around my
So you would... From date of year end. So by now, you ought to have audited financial statements for year end February 2025.
Last year. Yeah, I'd have to check, yes.
So we're 13 months down the line.
Yes, I presume, yes.
So these payments of 1 million on 27 June and 1,120,000 to loan on 7 October seem to have escaped the auditors as well.
Yes, we need to check. That's why I'm saying something doesn't look good here.
No, something certainly doesn't look good here.
Yes, so even for me, that's why I requested more time and postponement so that I could get to the bottom of this, because this is troubling me now. It's a lot of money, and between Mr. Van Vieren and the capturer, I need to find out what happened here.
It may not just be Mr. Van Vuren and the capturer, because these amounts were paid to Medicare 24. And certainly the October amount, the 1.12 million payment, was paid in a period where either Mr. Kerr or Mr. Mohammed would have had sight of payments into Medicare 24's account.
No, Council, they were not in. Mr. Khair was already removed at that time. Mr. Mohammed got in a bit later.
So this was just in a window between Mr. Kerr and Mr. Mohammed.
Yes.
Have you established what those dates are?
I will get them, and they will be sent to you by tonight.
I see. So this 1.12 million payment you believe to have been made in a window between their 2 periods of oversight of the Medicare 24 accounts.
Yes.
Now, as far as you're concerned, this is an unauthorized payment. It's just money misappropriated from Tasmika.
Yes, I didn't authorize these payments.
So what Medicare 24 owes you, in fact, is not 8.25 million, well, is not 18.25 million. It's actually more than 20 million, because it owes you another 2.12 million. Do you agree with that?
I think after we check and confirm from all these bank accounts, we'll then be able to determine the correct figure.
But as you stand today, your position is that Medicare, or before you were alerted to these payments, your position was that Medicare owed you the 8.25 that it hadn't paid you back, together with the 10 million that it was obliged to pay you over and above what you'd put in. So that was 18.25 was what Medicare owed you.
Correct.
And now it seems to be that there is another 2,120,000 that you paid Medicare and that ought to be paid back to you from Medicare.
From these bank statements, yes.
Before we leave these bank statements, can I ask you to go to the October bank statement? The bank statement of Medicare, not of Tasmika.
On what page is that, Councillor?
My page is 551. But it's the Medicare bank statement. Maybe let's start on the previous page, 550, where we will see the Tasmika payment. Do you see on 7th of October in the Medicare accounts, there is a payment of 1,120,000. That's the Tasmika payment at the foot of the page on 550.
550,
550, yes. I'm starting with the Tasmika payment.
yes.
Then if you go to the next page, 551, 9th October, about 7 or 8 lines from the bottom, you'll see that there was a 3 million payment into Medicare, 3 million CR. You see that? F&B OB payment loan.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that 3 million payment?
No, it's the first time I'm seeing this payment. I don't know about that payment.
And do you know anything, so as far as you're concerned, none of your companies have anything to do with that 3 million payment?
Sorry, our learned friend's going a bit quickly for us. 3 million payment on page.
It's page 551, 9th of October.
Thank you.
It's 8 from the bottom. So that payment of a 3 million loan into Medicare 24, you say you know nothing about.
No,
Have you ever made payments through a Hawala system in commercial dealings?
excuse me, can you repeat that?
Hawala payments. Have you made payments through a Hawala system in commercial dealings?
No,
No. And to the best of your knowledge, if we investigate this payment, we won't find a trail back to any of your companies.
I guarantee you, Council.
Well, I don't think you can guarantee it to me because you've just told me 2.12 million went missing out of your accounts without your knowledge.
You said it came via an Havala system. I don't use Havala system.
Yes, but it seems that you don't, you can't speak with total authority about what goes in and out of your accounts.
True.
On any scenario, you went into proceedings, or you came to this commission a few days ago thinking that Medicare 24 owed you 18.25 million, plus interest, I would imagine.
No, I said 8.25.
Now, 8.25 is what you put in, but you were supposed to get a return of 10.
Yes, but once the contract was cancelled, I was just wanting to get my capital back.
Now, I know you probably would have been happy to walk away with your capital, but in terms of legal rights, if your agreement is what you say your agreement was, you were entitled to the 10 million over and above what you put in.
Yes.
Why haven't you sued Medicare 24?
So as soon as these things started happening towards around April, May, I had a meeting with my lawyers, and we then agreed that we needed to start the legal process of receiving my monies. We had these discussions around April. In May, we then agreed, yes, we are going to institute legal proceedings. And my attorneys I had briefed to continue to pursue and get my money back.
Sorry, that was April, May last year.
Yes, just before Mr. Madlanga got arrested.
Yes. And what has happened between April, May, and today?
I can get a brief from them and then revert to you with that. We can send you the correspondence.
And what is your claim going to be? How much are you claiming back?
I'm not sure what they agreed to claim back, but I'll check for you. We'll send it to you on an email so that you have it on record.
I see. When I suggested to you that 18.5 million was what Medicare 24 owed you, you said no, 18.25 million. You said no, it's just 8.25, I just want my money back. Had your attorneys not explained to you that you were entitled to the extra 10 million as well?
Yes, we discussed that, but I don't know what did they do, if they finalized on what they were going to claim back.
I see.
Can I just check something? Have you cancelled your agreement with Medicare 24? What became of that agreement?
Commissioner, remember, as I explained, once I received the SLA in October, to get Mr. Matlala to sign that agreement was a bit of a uphill. He kept on saying, we'll sign. So the agreement with him was, once the SLA is out, we'll sign this funding agreement, and then we'll draw up another agreement. And he just never got to sign this funding agreement.
So are you saying there's no agreement between your company and Medicare 24? What's the legal position as we are sitting here today?
What we have is the proofs of payment that we paid him, and we have this funding agreement that was not signed.
But did you shake hands on it?
Yes, we had
So it's an oral agreement.
this verbal agreement. We shook hands, post come the funding agreement.
Thank you.
I just check, Mr. Karim, the accountants of Ziggy and Tamiz, they haven't raised any issue about there being no record of these, record as in agreement, the source of these payments that are huge payments that have been made to Medicare. That's never been an issue with the accountants.
From my instruction to Mr. Hein on the 5 million, I'm sure that is recorded in my books, yes. It is
Say
recorded.
that again, you say?
They are recorded. These loans are recorded.
Yeah, I'm asking a slightly different question, that you have a 5 million rand amount coming out of the Ziggy account, and there is no agreement, there's no written agreement that explains to an accountant why that money is being paid to Medicare. The same with Tamiz. You don't have a record that explains why that payment is being made to Medicare. Is that not an issue that your accountants would have raised with you?
No.
They did not. Not even the people who prepare your financial statements, not even those. your
No, we
auditors?
brief them on, obviously, they go through the bank statements. Mr. Hein will then brief them, this is a loan, that's a loan, this is going to this is an invoice payment. So he would brief them on what the transactions are.
Yeah, I'm asking a different question. Your auditors have never raised an issue about the absence of a written agreement that authorizes or that explains these payments. The auditors have not done that.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just follow on with that? Because it seems to me that, I mean, Ziggy pays 5 million rands on loan to a company that is ostensibly at arm's length, Medicare 24. Presumably in the books of Ziggy, that amount of 5 million would be reflected as loan Medicare 24, because that's what it says on the bank statement.
Yes, I'm sure the accountants will be able to take and produce that.
But when the auditors come to audit Ziggy's financial accounts, surely they'll ask for an underlying loan agreement in respect of a loan as big as 5 million rands.
They didn't ask for one.
Again, we'd need to speak to those auditors. Who audits Ziggy's financials?
I think I've given you an email address. They're going to give you an email address.
Is it the same auditors for all companies,
Yes.
all of your companies?
Not all. I'll just check who they're handling, but they'll be able to tell you which companies they're looking after.
Thanks. And if they don't look after Ziggy, who do we speak to get an instruction as to who does audit Ziggy's books?
These ones look after Ziggy.
These ones audit Ziggy's books.
Sorry, one more thing. What's the position between Ziggy and Tamiz? Does Ziggy or does Tamiz owe 5 million to Ziggy or the other way around? What's the position? Because I understood from paragraph 12 of your statement that Tamiz made payments to Medicare on behalf of Ziggy.
So
Is there an underlying agreement?
there's internal loan agreements, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chaskalson.
I want to wait until we get the explanations from Mr. Van Vuren and your follow-up explanation in relation to these payments before I close off this topic. But I will come back to it once we've seen that. And I do, for now, I need to put to you a series of concerns that I have about this agreement between yourself and between Ziggy and Medicare 24. You just need to hear them. I'll ask you for comment later when we see you again. But in fairness to you, you need to know my concerns, which may well also be reflected by among some of the commissioners. My first concern is my first concern is with the numbers. There is, your version in the statement is a loan of 10 million. It turns out that there were payments of 12.12 million. We need an explanation for where the extra 2.12 million comes from. My second concern is that even on the version on the statement, what you have is a loan of 10 million to a relative stranger without any security, which seems commercially odd to me, to say the least. My second concern is that this loan to a relative stranger without security is not just without security, it's without a written contract. That also seems commercially odd to me. My third concern is that for a party whose stated relationship to Medicare 24 is that of simply lender, it does seem to me that Ziggy or yourself or your companies or your group generally performed a role much more akin to a partnering investor than a lender. You provided accounting support. You had a representative on a finance committee. You agreed to forego your rights on your loan when the money first started to flow in September. You agreed when you were finally paid to pay what seems to have been a debt of Mr. Matlala out of the monies paid to you. So you agreed to pay a total of 750,000 of the 2.5 million that you were paid. 750,000 of that you paid on to Mr. Maumela. All of these elements concern me, and they, in my view, cast doubt on the correctness or the truth of your version of a loan. And what I want to put to you is what it looks like to me. It looks much more like you were an investing partner in this contract, and that you were an investing partner together with Mr. Maumela, and that while you were in business with Mr. Maumela in relation to a Chrome project, while you were funding an interdict that served to protect Mr. Maumela's company, you might also have been investing with Mr. Maumela in this contract. Because Mr. Maumela keeps on getting screenshots of your communications with Mr. Matlala. Mr. Maumela gets paid out of your payments from Mr. Matlala. So those are my concerns, and I think that's what you need to address when you come back. There are two further topics that I could address with you today. Let me first ask you, just get some clarity about, which relates to the Mr. Maumela relationship. You spoke about the origins of your relationship with Mr. Maumela in the house sale, and that you then went into this joint business in relation to a chrome mining operation. You mentioned that you were each going to put in 55 million, and that to raise his 55 million, he had to sell an asset, and he sold it. And you said you got notified that the money had been transferred to the lawyer's trust account from the sale of the asset, and you said you were overjoyed because now you could start the project. When were you notified that the money went into the lawyer's trust account? Approximately when was this?
Sometime in December 23, November.
November, December. And then you say, subsequent to me receiving the funds, Maumela approached you and told you, subsequent to you receiving the funds, Maumela approached you and told you that he's got challenges with his current house, he's paying penalties, he's losing $1 million a month on penalties, so could he please take some of his money and complete his house, then he'd bring back the funds so he could continue with the project. How long was that after you had received the funds?
It was immediately. It was, you mean when did he approach me?
Yes, when did he approach you? You get the funds, you've now got the money in Ziggy.
Yes, that same day he approached me.
The same day he approached you. So when were the funds paid out? So were the funds in Ziggy for more than a day?
The funds were there for a couple of hours, and that's exactly what my problem was with him. And that's exactly where I had an issue. So I said to him, I've already committed. You cannot backtrack on this. We had a gentleman's agreement. Paperwork is to follow. I've made commitments. People are waiting. This is not acceptable.
But within a couple of hours, you'd paid him the money.
I had to pay him the money. It's his money.
Well, it wasn't actually his money. It was money that he had committed to a joint project with you. So you had a contract with him that he had to put up 55 million.
Yes, a verbal contract.
You had to put up 55 million.
Yes,
And that 110 million was now going to be used for some mining project.
yes.
But you agreed immediately he put up the 55 million. That, or I think you said it was 56, that he could take his money back.
Mr. Chaskalson, if someone comes to you and you're holding that kind of money of theirs and they're sitting in front of you and he says, I'll bring back the money, I want my money back. I had no choice. I said, it's fine. What time frames are we looking at? When will you bring this money back? He said, he's busy with a disposal of another asset. He'll come back to me, but for now he needs to finish his house.
You see, again, one of the things that strikes me as odd about this arrangement is that he sells an asset. The money gets paid into trust at his lawyers. He can instruct those lawyers what to do with that money. He can instruct those lawyers to pay you, or he can instruct those lawyers to pay him. If he wanted the money back, why would he instruct the lawyers to pay you for you to pay the money to him? Why wouldn't he just instruct the lawyers pay me directly?
We'll have to ask him because the instruction was to pay to me based on the agreement we had on this mining operation.
So he gave you an instruction based on a contract. Well, he gave his attorneys an instruction based on a contract with you. He had a contract with you to pay 55 or 56 million. He told his attorneys, pay 56 million, and no sooner had the 56 million landed than he said, pay me, what was it, 35 million?
No, he requested 40 million at that time.
Sorry, he requested?
40.
40. Again, the arrangement strikes me as concerning, and it strikes me as particularly concerning because it happens 10 days before a preservation order is issued against him by SARS, and at a time when he must have known that SARS were coming after him. Did it not strike you as funny that the money came to you, and then as soon as it came to you, the person who had effectively directed that it be paid to you said, pay it to me?
No, because he committed, and remember, I still had a balance of the money left over with me. He didn't take all his money.
I appreciate that, but he took 35 million out of 56 million.
Yes, he did.
I have another substantive topic to address now, but we're not going to finish before 3 o'clock. So I'd rather get to it when we resume.
Were dates agreed?
What we have at the moment, we just need to find out when. Chair, might I ask if we stand down for a couple of minutes just to find out when Mr. Karim and his attorney return to South Africa and what dates are available thereafter?
We'll adjourn and we'll come back when it's indicated that we should. The legal representative who's traveling and Mr. Karim are excused. Yes, Mr. Chaskalson.
Chair, we've agreed on the 16th of April.
Mr. Karim, the hearing of your testimony will be resumed on 16 April 2026. So you must be here on that day.